Hello students, this is the first of my week in review videos that I like to do. I generally do them once a week, but really just kind of when I get enough to talk about. And since this is the end of the first week, I wanted to hit on some highlights of things that I feel like need to be addressed. If I look down, it's because I have things written down. So I'm just going to go through these. If you have any questions, please let me know. So the first thing is bonus points for the discussion forum. So hopefully some of you have seen that I awarded bonus points. I do this for 3 reasons. If you provide a new reference in your response to someone, if you give a particularly meaningful response that really elaborates on the post that you read, or if you provide a solid response and then ask a follow-on question to keep the discussion going, then I will award 1/10 of a point for each event. So if you ask a question in all 3 of your responses, I will award you 3/10 of a point. That may not sound like much, but let me tell you, it can add up for sure, because this happens every week. Now, on the flip side, I didn't take any points this week, but I gave people warnings if their response wasn't substantive and didn't really add to the discussion. Then I will subtract 1/10 of a point for those responses that are just, hey, good job, I agree with everything you said. I'm going to take away a point because that's you're not adding to the discussion at all. So, the discussion forum is supposed to mimic us sitting in a classroom, talking with each other, and I feel like if you were in a classroom, you wouldn't just say to someone, hey, I really like what you said there, good job. You would have a discussion, right? So I did, like I said, this week I did not take away any points, but I will starting next week. Let's see, edited papers. So you may have seen by now I uploaded to both my YouTube channel and in the course forum a couple of papers from last week that I edited, just going through and showing the correct APA formatting. So you might take a look at those videos. I don't remember whose papers they were, and it doesn't matter. They were both pretty well written, but there were some APA errors. I have also edited a total of 8 papers this week, sent them back to the students for APA corrections. I'm not going to do all 34 of you because it takes a long time to edit them. So I'm just going to do those 8 this week. I'll try to do some more, over the next week. But I would really appreciate those of you who got the corrections to implement those corrections in your further writing, as well as keep studying APA. I have said in my videos, every question you have, and even those you don't know you have, can be answered by going to APA Style or Purdue OWL or Excelsior OWL, which stands for Online Writing Lab, or University of the People's Student Learning or Learning Resource Center. So, you need to take APA seriously. Yeah, I am overall more concerned about content, and I certainly considered that when I was editing the papers, and I made comments about that. But, not following APA rules really can detract from the writing, because we want a standardized format so that no matter who's reading your paper, the information is going to be presented in the same way in each paper. So please study those rules. Once you learn them, it's not a big deal to sit down and write a paper, at least in terms of formatting. Okay. Let's see, assessment comments. So I've also been going through, not too heavily yet because I like to kind of do them all at once, but I've been looking at the comments you're making in your assessments for the written assignment, and some of you are really doing well, and I made comments. Some of you are putting kind of the bare minimum. I have uploaded into the course forum examples of what I expect to see in terms of feedback, so that the person whose paper you are assessing can learn from you. So, if they get a 4 out of 4, you don't have to go into great detail, but you could. But if you give anything less than 4 full points, you need to say why, and not just, did not explain very well. Okay, what do you mean? I mean, I as the writer feel like I explained pretty well, so why do you think I did not? Okay, so that's an example, and I do adjust grades for those assessment. It's only 10% of your overall grade for those written assessments, but again, losing points can make a difference. So just think about, your teachers. What would you tell your students? Do you just tell your students, hey, you did a great job? Or do you really give them some feedback? Hopefully the latter. Plagiarism, I have found a couple examples of outright plagiarism. I told those writers, that they had plagiarized. I took 20 points, or will take 20 points off their overall score. I don't report people for plagiarism until after the first time, and I've notified them because I want to make sure that everybody has the same understanding about plagiarism. I feel like you should this far into your program, but I can't assume anything. So, even if it's just a sentence and you gave a citation, if it's a direct quote, you have to put quotation marks around the part that's directly quoted. Just a citation isn't good enough. And don't feel like, leaving out the quotation marks so someone will think you wrote this yourself. It's okay to quote others, to quote writers. Now you want, less than 20% of your paper to be direct quotes, because you need to synthesize and interpret what you're reading, but not at the expense of plagiarism. Okay. For some reason, I have gotten 2 papers so far that I've graded or edited that were written on stationery, so you owe people letterhead. I have never seen that before, and it's really not correct. So student papers, professional papers, always just on blank, blank paper, no letterhead, no border, 12 point Times New Roman. So if you are using, fancy paper to write with, don't do that. Just use plain white paper and follow the instructions for title page and all that. Okay. So I think that was all I had. It's been an enjoyable week. I really got a lot out of the discussion forum. It looks like many of you are really engaged and, learning from each other. And that's my intent, is to get you to collaborate and to form some relationships, so that as you continue through the program and even beyond, when you get your degree, that, you've got peers and friends that you can, talk over things with. So that's what I hope to happen. And I try to encourage that kind of collaboration. But because we don't have a group project, that's a little more challenging. But that said, I think the final project is very good. And I think you still have plenty of opportunities through the discussion forum to, get to know each other. So with that, I'm going to say goodbye, because I think that's all I have. And if you have any questions about anything I've said, please let me know.